And we'd like to welcome Mike over from Canada. How you doing, Mike?
Good, man. Thank you guys for having me on.
I've got the usual suspects with me in Carl and Ray.
All right.
What's up, guys?
You'll know their ugly mugs well soon.
Hold on. Just before we launch into tonight's fight, Mike, can I just thank you for your Canadian hospitality last night on your show over in Canada? It was a brilliant show. If you've not seen it already, I brought much needed glamour to the Canadian boxing establishment. So if you've not seen it already, we'll put a link in the description below, and you can view it. But
he showed up. He showed up with his cup of tea.
Hold on a minute.
Yeah, represent the Brits, didn't he?
Michael,
pinky up and everything, too, right?
Anyway, that's enough of that rubbish talk. Andy, come on, take control, lad. What are we doing?
So obviously, post-fight show, we're going to talk about how Williams just wasn't good enough, in my opinion, to get anywhere near.
Footwork, man.
Yeah, footwork. Williams not being able to cut the ring off.
Wasn't busy enough.
He couldn't. It's almost like he couldn't get started.
Couldn't get close enough to land any shots cleanly. And every time he come in, he was getting caught consistently with that uppercut.
He ate it. He ate that lead uppercut. Honestly, I'd love to see the stats on how many times he ate that lead uppercut, though. But honestly, the post-fight interview, he did say that, that devastating knockdown in the second where I thought it was over. Like he took a 1-2 right on the chin, and I was like, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
But he got up. Stood up and literally pressed forward. And he said that after that, he felt he was indestructible because he took the best that he could take, like that he could throw, right? He felt that was the biggest shots that Andrade could throw, and it made him press and just be like, I can walk through anything, which made him sloppy. I think after that, he let his emotions take over, and I feel like he almost ditched his game plan because every time he was going into the corner, his corner people are telling him, use the footwork, man. It's the footwork. You're being too still. You're not moving enough. Because honestly, that's the game that Andrade. That's the way he fights, man. He bounces around, and then when he stops, to expect that he's going to hit you with some big shot. I just feel Williams. He got thrown off his game after being knocked down, but I give it to him, man. He's a tough SOB, man. Wow. Like, he ate some big shots after, after that knockdown, and I couldn't believe he ate some of them. And, well, then he almost got stumbled there in the 12th. That last 2 minutes or so, he took that nice left, stumbled him back, and then they had that, trip and fall over on the mat.
How did you score it, Mike?
Pardon me?
How did you score it?
Honestly, I scored it. Honestly, Andrade all the way. I know I felt Williams won a couple rounds. He did hurt Andrade a couple times. He did throw him some big shots, but that knockdown screwed him. He came out really good in the first. That was kind of like a tied round, man. I felt they were kind of even in the first, even though Ubu landed a few good shots. But, it looked pretty even, and then the knockdown just kind of ruined it from there. And then, those emotions take over, and then when you ditch your game plan, he lost, 4 rounds in a row after that? And then I think he won, another one. I think he won the 6th. And then it was just downhill from there, right? But I give it to him, man. He shows that he can stand with world level champions. That's what it shows. And, I think we're going to see him again soon in the world stage.
Carl?
Now then, Michael, what was your prediction on Thursday night, young man?
I knew this was coming.
Mike, just before you start, let me set some context.
Okay.
So, obviously, you joined our show on Thursday night, and then you guys, Ray, Andy, you won't be aware of this. He actually had a conversation with his co-presenters on his show in Canada. And they thought Williams. I'm right in thinking they thought Williams had a chance as well, didn't they? And I think hold on, Mike. I've started talking. My understanding is that you said us Brits rolled our eyes at you and we said Andrade was going to win. Is that correct? Yes, it is. Now, come on, a bit of humble pie here, Mike. What?
Listen. They when honestly, both of them, well, all of them really, when they heard that I had picked and you guys had picked Andrade, that's where they were like, "No, man, that was wrong. You know that Andrade's gonna win." I'm like, "No, man. Williams, my boy, man. He's gonna come through. He's gonna destroy it. He was, he's so confident, man. He had it. Walking into the ring, he looked good. But honestly, yeah, he was outclassed footwork. But what can you say?
Yeah.
I backed him because I like him as a fighter. I think he's he's really tough, and he's got the drive, man, and he makes for exciting fights. He presses, Look at that, man. Andre thought it was over in the second.
Yeah.
And what happens? He takes it 12 rounds after that. Guy gets a nasty knockdown, takes 2 shots on the chin, gets back up. Those 2 shots are highlight reel knockouts. And we see that weekly.
What it does mean, Mike, is that the UK are beating Canada 2-0 in terms of predictions. You do know that, don't you?
We're gonna have to fix that then.
Well, you guys in North America need to up your game in the predictions league, clearly.
See, my game in the fight, my game on my show is all about the newcomers. Newcomers, baby. You gotta look for these newcomers.
So Williams has got your respect there, then, Mike.
100%. You know what? And he had my respect the minute he moved up that weight class, and didn't lose a fight since. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. He's got a great chin, right? You can give him that. But
he's got one of the best. He's got one of the best chins I've seen in the last 6 months.
The problem is though, it's okay having a great chin, but that's not going to win your fights.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And if I let Ray jump in here a little bit, we were talking off it before you came on about the art of cutting off a ring. So I'll let Ray jump in because he can explain this a little bit better than me.
The problem I've got with a lot of fighters, and it's not just our British fighters, is they're not cutting off the ring at all. They're following their opponents around the ring, and it's not effective aggression. Yeah, it's they're looking as though they're forcing the fight, but that's not good enough, especially at world level. You've got to be cutting off the ring. Your footwork has got to be to the point where, especially when you're fighting in a southpaw, where your lead foot's got to be on the outside, you've got to anticipate where your opponent's going to the point where you're making that ring smaller. But a lot of these fighters are just following. So Andrade, he made that ring bigger. He would hit, land 2 or 3 clean shots, and then he'd be on the outside again. Liam couldn't get anywhere near him. And this is the point I was making to the boys earlier, where when Andrade got hit, he was still on his toes. Where Williams got hit, he stayed hit. Mm-hmm. You see what I mean? He took 2 or 3 shots, and that's what the judges see. That's what they're impressed with. And that's a problem I had. If you cut off the ring better, perhaps, because for me, you made a good point there, Mike, when you were saying, oh, well, he hit him hard in the second, and then obviously he went to points. But I think for me, that came down to the weight. He was struggling in there. He was tired.
Yeah.
And I think it started off quick because often when fighters are struggling with the weight, they put all their efforts into getting them out because they know they can't. And that's what he did with Williams. I think if Williams had cut off the ring, he would have realised that Andrade didn't have his legs there mid rounds. Right. And then you could have got him with the body. You could have got him on the ropes.
Ray, that kind of brings me on to my next point. You mentioned that Eddie Hearn was calling out everybody in their mic.
Yes.
Post fight. So I think Ray's spot on. I don't think Andre can stay at this weight. He might have 1 or 2 fights left. If that's the case, there's no point in fighting at this weight again unless it's for another belt.
Exactly. And that's exactly what...
So if he does get a fight against another champion, do you think he can beat another champion? Because for me, he looks great. Highlight reels are great. He's got great movement, great skill. But you get him in there with a Triple G or even a Canelo moving down, they have that technique. They have that art of cutting a ring off.
And power.
And for me, they stop him early because of that. Because he won't be able to get away from him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So where does he go next, Andy? Where does he go? So you're promoting him. Where's he going?
Well, where Eddie Hearn's trying to make him go is the Charlo fight. He wants Charlo to fight him. They've already offered him a ton of money, and he said, "Listen, man, if you don't want to come to the zone, we'll come there. We don't care." Honestly, I like Charlo. I'd like to see Charlo win that. I think it would make for a good fight.
Do you think Charlo's been tested?
No, I don't think he's been tested to his full ability yet. I still think we're waiting to see the real deal out of him. I don't think he's had enough competition that's, made him really have to work hard.
And Mike, can I ask you a question? In North America, is their profile big enough for it to command pay-per-view? Are people going to buy it?
Definitely. Fighting over here is huge, man. Doesn't matter what it is, mixed martial arts, boxing, people are on it, people watch it, people do it as recreation. Everybody's into it, man. It's a whole movement, in the last 10 years kind of thing. And, it's got a big backing, man.
I think that's a problem with the American fighters though, because they are getting to, Charlo's 30, 31 and all.
Yeah.
In my opinion, his profile isn't big enough for somebody of that nature and stature in America is what I think it should be.
Well, exactly. There's a lot of this. There's a lot of guys who have high number fights, high number wins, and they're undefeated, and it's because the talent pool might not be as deep as it should be in the state that they live in. For instance, you talk 5 years ago out of Alabama. There's no boxing in Alabama 5 years ago, but now there's there's a movement. They're starting to get fighters out of these provinces yes, in Canada, but states. Yeah. These states that never had a boxing program, or you'd have to travel somewhere to go and get into a boxing program. These towns and counties and everything, they're starting to get boxing in there, man. It's becoming popular, so you're getting more and more fighters that are coming up into the ranks, man. You'd be surprised with the amount of prospects that are coming out of the United States right now, with under 10 fights, turning pro at 17, maybe 18 years old, 19 years old, and they're 10-0, 11-0. Some of them are 20-0. There's huge talent coming out, and we got to start putting bigger, people in front of them, man. Yeah. You can't keep fighting the same people over and over again, and you need to be challenged, man. You won't grow as a fighter unless you fight somebody that you're going to learn something from.
Yeah.
Welcome in to the show.
Yep.
Hey, how's it going?
Where you from, mate?
Hi, it's nice to see you all.
Where you from, fella?
I'm from Durham, County Durham.
Ray.
Far from you, am I?
Do you know Ray?
No, I don't. Well,
no, he doesn't. But he's obviously from down the road, isn't he?
Yeah. Where are you from then?
I'm from Newcastle, but I live in Gateshead.
Oh, right. Okay.
Did you watch the fight tonight, Ian?
Yes, I did. I was rooting for our boy, but I had a feeling that it was going to end up like that. But I thought he did well.
Guys,
he did really well.
I just have to run outside for a sec. I'll be right back.
No problem.
No worries, Mike. No worries. Sorry, carry on, Ian.
That affects everybody. I thought Liam did really well. He was severely outclassed, though, wasn't he? Really. I was kind of disappointed with the whole card, if I'm really honest. I don't know about what you guys thought.
Well, it's not bad for 199.
Unfortunately.
Sorry.
Typical American card. We talk about this quite a lot on the show.
Yeah.
They never, even though it was a designed card.
Yeah.
They never stack the shows like the English cards.
No, not at all. No, you're right. And the ref, I kept laughing at the ref because the guy saying he really should warn Andrade for holding, and the other guy's going, he's not going to do that. We knew that, didn't we? We knew he'd have to. The only way Williams could have got out of that with a win was to have knocked him out.
Yeah.
But there you go.
He never
had the power.
Yeah.
No.
Unfortunately.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he really rocked him a couple of times, didn't he? But he just didn't have the. I don't think he had it.
The problem is it's okay landing one shot, but then you got to be able to follow it up.
Absolutely.
And he wasn't. And then
jumped all
you know,
over him, didn't he? But he did.
And even when Andrade was a couple of times he got it clean, but that was very rare in the fight, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When he did get it clean, he wasn't there for the second shot.
That's what I've been saying all night.
He'd moved away, and Williams couldn't get anywhere near him then.
Yeah, when Williams got hit, Williams stayed hit.
Yeah.
And then that enabled Andrade to land two or three clean shots on him.
Yeah.
When Williams hit Andrade, he was on his toes.
The bottom line is, guys, Williams just wasn't good enough.
No,
he wasn't. He came up short.
Yeah.
Just jumping back on this, Eddie and calling other fighters out in the division. Do you think this is just really good promotion, and Eddie Hearn's thinking, I need to cash in here because we'll get him a couple of good fights? Or does Eddie Hearn actually believe he's better than he actually is?
Eddie Hearn says that about every fighter. I mean, there's an odd one where he's probably went, I'm not too sure about that one. But you can't tell me Andrade beats Charlo, Golovkin. I don't even think he beats Munguia, who beat Liam Smith.
Let's have it right, lad. Let's have it right.
He's too strong for him.
Eddie Hearn convinced half the country that Audie Harrison was going to beat David A. That's the quality of his sales skills.
Yeah,
so he can do that. He can do anything.
He is the best. He is the best at what he does, isn't he?
Yeah, he's promoting.
Hands down. Yeah,
he's promoting. It's for me. I think educated boxing fans know that Andrade isn't the best world champion out there. He's a paper, in my opinion, he's a paper 2-weight world champion.
He couldn't put Williams away, could he? He was feeding him them uppercuts, but he couldn't put him away. So what's his power like?
He was hitting proper clean as well, wasn't he, at times?
Yeah, of course it was.
Oh, he landed so many clean shots.
Yeah. Oh, you back, Mike? Hello.
Yeah, he landed so many clean shots. I saw him walk through the same shots and dropped them. You know, he took that 1-2 combination more than once in that fight.
Yeah.
You know, I think he wasn't ready for it the first time, which threw him off his game plan. Because if you do remember in the first round, you know how you were saying he was chasing, you know, and you got to cut off the ring. That first round, he was doing that. He was cutting the ring off more and sticking to a different kind of game plan, a game plan that is whole. Then he got dropped, and then it became that chase game that, like you said, the UK fighters do. And you know that's he just resorted back to the survival mode. But then at that point, he felt the strongest punch that he was going to get, and then he just wasn't afraid anymore. So he was taking those shots. But see, shots are scoring points.
I don't know about you.
I think in the first round, I thought that was probably one of Andrade's most dominant rounds.
Yeah,
I thought
as establishing he's the power puncher, right?
He established the dominance as a. Mike, I was very disappointed with the Williams knockdown. I thought that was a very average combination. Put him on his own.
Yeah, man.
It wasn't power. It was just technique.
It didn't have
just technique that put him down.
Yeah, it was.
He barely twisted his hips into that.
Don't forget, though, with technique comes power.
Yeah,
but I think it caught him off guard. It caught him off guard. It didn't put him to sleep.
Yeah. For me, he barely put in anything into it, and this is what I was saying to the boys. You know, he doesn't. Someone like him, if he's going to be on song, he doesn't need to put too much power in. If he's going to catch you clean and accurate, there's that. You know, it's punches that you don't see that can hurt. Yeah, and but I think from in the first round, he was catching him with so many lead uppercuts. You thought, this is probably going to be an early night.
And I don't want to. Williams is just not world class. Full stop.
No.
Well, Williams' game plan for this fight for me was he had to be aggressive. He had to try and put it on Andrade. He had to rough him up. He had to stop Andrade breathing. He had to sit on his chest. And from the first second of the first round, Andrade took that away from him. And then he had nowhere to go.
Yeah. That first round was like a blitzkrieg, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I thought, oh no!
He took the aggression away from him, and then you could see it in Williams. He was like, "What do I do now then?"
Well, it just showed levels, didn't it? I know I WhatsApp you guys. Boxing's about levels. That first round, he made Williams look like a novice.
Yeah,
Yeah, he did.
You
He
know,
did. Yeah.
It was embarrassing. So
yes, in the first round, he really did establish dominance, and he showed Williams, "I'm the power puncher here. I'm the one you got to be worried about." The post-fight interview, Williams even said it best. He couldn't get going after he would land a shot. Andrade was still on his toes, and then he wouldn't be there, so he couldn't continue with the combinations that we know and love from Williams as a boxer. He just couldn't put those combinations.
What it reminded me of, Mike? You know what it reminded me of? It was a bit like the UK boxing fans establishing that we can predict fights right against Canadian boxing fans. I draw a parallel there. Yeah. I think that's how wide our gap is in terms of the prediction league, Mike.
We're definitely gonna have to fix that.
Yeah. Where do you see Williams going from here? Because
I was going to ask that to Ian actually, and Ian and Mike. I was going to ask that to them.
For me, he wasn't listening to his coach.
No,
he's moved to a coach that teaches great movement, great angle shots, and he used none of that in that fight. And every time he went back to the corner, you said it a bit ago, Mike. Every time he went back to the corner, they were telling him to use his feet because that was the only way he was going to get close to him.
Yep.
And he didn't do any of it.
But you've got to be good enough to do it, Amanda. I just don't think it's good enough.
This is what I'm saying. He might not have won the first round, but he showed better footwork than he did the rest of the fight. He was listening to his coaches in the beginning. There wasn't too much separation between him. He was staying on Andrade a little more, staying in the pocket a little more because he was using his footwork. The minute he got dropped, that was out the window, and it became cat and mouse chase.
But that's always the case, isn't it? In every fight.
Yes, yes.
You revert back to
It's survival. Survival. It's survival of the fittest, right? It's a survival game. But as a professional at a world-class level, you should know that you still have to stick to your game plan and listen to your corner. Whether or not you're punched, drunk, concussed, you still have to listen to your coaches. You can't just resort back to survival, man. You got to survive, but still stick to the game plan. Game plans win fights.
Off the back of what you're saying there, Mike, question for you, Ray. Do you think Dominic Ingle walks away from him now?
No.
Because he's hold on a minute. He's got him to that point where he's in a world title fight. He's not listening to him for a single round of the fight. He's clearly been teaching him different skill sets that he hasn't used previously in his career, and he's not used any of it in the fight.
I just don't think. I know because he asked us, and I'll answer it. I just don't think ability-wise he had it. And remember what I was saying when we had the chat on Thursday. If you look at the fights that Williams has had since he lost to Liam Smith twice before this, Atlantis Fox, Mark Heffron, these aren't the type of fights that are going to prepare you for somebody like Andrade.
No, of course not.
You know what I mean? They're not going to prepare you for that. And I just think at the end of the day, the advice from Ingle was correct in terms of we were doubting him when he gave Robbie Davis Jr. his advice, which was completely wrong. But I just don't think Williams either had the self-belief in himself to follow that, and I just think he just thought, I'm just going to get this guy in a war.
So that goes back to the same question. If you're his coach, you've spent numerous hours, numerous weeks, months drilling this new technique into him, and he's reverted to type, i.e., his old style.
Have you had a bad day today or something?
No, I'm just putting it. I'm just putting it.
Yeah, but is that Ingle's fault though? I mean,
no, it's not.
Why would he? I mean, he's
fault. This is what I say here. So does Ingle think I can't do anything for this guy anymore because he isn't listening?
Let me tell you what I think.
Because he's not finished, Williams. your original question was where he can go from there. I think for me, he gets another big fight at British level, perhaps a winner of Felix Cash, Bentley, and then he goes again from there. Maybe a European, and then he comes back again. He's at the bottom of the mandatory pile, and I think that's the way to look at it. I think
after the fight, he said that he believes for him, he's still on the world class level.
He's not. In my opinion.
I think it's the first time it's his first world title fight. How many boxers have learned when they've come out of a loss at that level? So I think he goes again. It's a rebuilding job.
As for his coach, you know what's going to happen? A lot of damn push-ups and a lot of damn running to teach him to listen to me when I'm telling you in a fight. When he gets in that gym, they'll drill that into his head.
Let's bring Ian in. What do you think, Ian? Where's he go next?
Well, how long has he been with Ingle?
This will be his seventh fight. He's seventh fight with him.
Oh, 7. So it's a long time then, really.
That's what I mean.
So we should, you're right. I think
that's what I'm talking about. And he's not learned. He's not learned.
No.
I think every boxer's got a ceiling, though, haven't they?
This is the best boxer he's fought.
Yeah,
you understand? The best boxer he's fought. I mean, he looked impressive in his last victories. Mike's saying he's never lost at that weight until now. Yeah, but then, as I had pointed out, it was a case of who he fought.
Yeah, and then you got to think about this too. If he's training over in the UK, how many, and you have the UK style fighting of that cat and mouse kind of chase that you were talking about earlier. The sparring partners, man, you got to get better sparring partners for this guy.
Ingle Gym have got they're never short of getting good sparring partners. That's one thing I would say about the Winterbank Gym. You always get decent sparring partners. And I just think at the end of the day, it was his ability.
Then then maybe it's time that he finds new coaching.
Also, Mike, most of the fighters that are in the Ingle Gym have a similar style to Andrade.
The switch, yeah.
Yeah,
they're on that's why I think it's his ability.
Shoot from angles. So he's been sparring all of them people in that gym.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See, I'm not familiar with that gym, so definitely.
No. So do you know Prince Nassim? Remember Prince Nassim? Prince Nassim, Kel Brook, they're all from that gym.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, let's bring Ian in. Ian.
What?
You want something you want to say, Ian?
I'm saying that the Ingle Gym is kind of like the UK Kronk, really, in terms of
okay.
Just to put it into perspective for you, Mike.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I get it now.
Google Brendan Ingle, Mike, and you'll see the heritage of the Ingle Gym.
Yeah.
Okay, definitely. I will definitely do that, man.
I just think it was ability at the end of the day. I need to turn to the original point again. Yeah, I just think that he was given good advice in the corner. But I just think he was limited on the night. I think when you saw that when he got in close, because when he eventually got in close, somebody like him should have realized, okay, body punches, it's about volume here. He didn't. It was a single shot. He was right hand happy. He was greedy with that right hand. And then
he had it cocked and loaded, ready to go almost, 60% of every round.
Yeah.
60% of the round, he's got it cocked and ready to go, just like this.
Yeah, and Andrade was reading that. Andrade was just too good. Andrade was psychologically 2 steps ahead of him.
He never stood in the one spot for more than a second. You know what I mean? Any one shot that Williams got on him, by the time he was ready to throw the next one, Andrade was already gone. He's already gone. He wasn't even there.
Yeah. Dress it up how you want, guys. He just wasn't good enough, was it?
You could put him there. You could bring Emmanuel Stewart back. Emmanuel Stewart could have trained him for about 5 years. It still would have been the same outcome.
Yeah. So Ian, I don't know if you've seen previous shows, but we often do a prediction game on the show. So we've all covered Billy Joe versus Canelo. But what are your thoughts on Billy Joe versus Canelo? Come on, let's do it.
Oh no!
After some fire.
Whoever I go for, it's always a loser. I tell you.
Well, pick Canelo then.
I have a terrible record for this, so I daren't say anything. If I speak, then Billy Joe don't get a hope. I'll be rooting for Billy Joe. Obviously, I think he's got the tools to do it.
Yeah.
Whether he's got, he hasn't had the fights, to.
That's his problem, isn't it?
Yeah, he's been.
You know what? At that point, it comes to ring. It's going to come down to ring experience, man.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to come down to who you faced and how many fights you've had under your belt.
Mike, I hope you go for Canelo, or I mean, whoever you predict, you're going to get it wrong. So,
Canelo.
Honestly, I'm Canelo all the way for that one, eh?
Yeah.
Hold on a minute. We haven't
Canelo's going to go down as the greatest Mexican boxer of all time.
Of course.
And he's not done yet, man. His last fight, come on, it was a joke. He didn't even break a sweat.
It was the last one. It was.
He's a machine, man. He trains so much all the time. There's no fight camp. He fights all the time.
Yeah.
And what has he got? One coming up next month. Then he's got another one like early summer, and then late in the year. He's got 3 more fights this year.
Don't count your chickens.
Yeah, we'll see if they can get those deals signed. Like, let's be real. It's always talks, but then politics, money, egos, mandatory fights, everything comes into play.
We've all gave our predictions about this fight, and
come on, Ian, don't get on the fence, lad. Let's have a round and a winner.
A round, bloody hell!
Yeah, we do it proper on this channel.
Well, I would like to think that Billy will take it to the end. I'd like to think that. I'd like to think it will be a TK. It'll be a points decision, and definitely it'll be in Canelo's favour. But it could well be a Canelo stoppage in about 7 or 8, probably.
So you gave us the politician answer. Now let's go for the proper answer. So what we're going for, Ian? What if you had to put your final pound on it, or dollar in Mike's case? Where are we going?
I don't know. I reckon Canelo went in 7.
Ooh, very interesting. And then moving on quickly, because obviously you're the VIP tonight, to Tyson Fury versus AJ. Then no sitting on the fence for this one, Ian. Come on, work with us.
Well, I've been looking at Tyson, the training videos of Tyson, and he's looking really good, I have to say. I've been a bit concerned about this for a while, as I'm sure we all have, because AJ is AJ, he's a powerhouse. But I don't think he's fast enough. I don't think. Looking at him training the other day, there were side by side shots of them on the bags. If you saw that video, and Tyson was really giving it some welly, and although possibly the harder punches on the bag were coming from AJ, they were slower and not so quick at all. So I don't know. Maybe I'm rooting for Fury. I think Fury will get it. I don't think he'll stop him, but there again, he might.
We're slipping down that politician route again, aren't we, Ian?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, I mean,
are you sure you're not in number 10?
He's in with Dominic Cummings. That's why he's in County Durham.
No. How's it going to go? I don't know. I don't know how it's going to go, boys. I really don't. I think it's a Fury win, definitely. Yeah, it could. I don't know. Yeah, a late stoppage, maybe. Yeah.
Right, and then the final.
Eddie's going to be very upset anyway. Put it that way.
The final topic that I've got to bring up, Mike, while you're on this show, because you gave me a kicking last night about it. Let's debate it on my side of the pond this time, Mike. On my side of the pond. Lennox Lewis, British or Canadian? So we'll go round. We'll go with Ray, then Ander, then Ian, then Mark, and Ray. Let's have it.
Who's
British.
starting?
Ray started.
Yeah,
So,
he's
set your case because Mike's going to go in on this one.
Right.
for me, there's no case he's British. It's as simple as that.
What's
Hold
the
on,
name?
Mike. Not your turn, Mike. Hold on. Let's go to Ander.
He's British, man. He's British.
British all day long, because where was he born?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Now let's go over to our Canadian friend, Mike. Mike, set your store out to why you believe Lennox Lewis is Canadian. Over
What
to
country
you.
does it say on that gold medal?
Outrageous! He pulled that one on me last night.
What country does it say on that Olympic gold medal?
Mike.
Okay, Mike, let me counter that. Hold on, Andy. Let me ask you my
So you're
Hold on.
British. So your British guy, your British champion, Lennox Lewis, decides to join the Olympics and say, you know what, I'm Canadian.
Hold on a minute. Can I interlude now, Michael? So what I would say
Mike,
is,
you've got some cojones.
where was you born, Michael? Have you got?
He was born. Yes,
Michael?
He's born on your side of the pond, guys. Yes.
Okay, so last time I looked, London wasn't in Canada.
No, it's not. It's not at all.
And then the next thing I'll say is,
your feet is on our money.
I've started, so I'll finish, Michael. 1 minute. What flag was draped over him when he won numerous titles? I didn't see a maple leaf on that flag.
No, but it's etched on that gold medal in the Olympics.
I'm not finished. And what national anthem was played when he fought in the majority in all his professional fights? Answers on a postcard, like I said last night. Answers on a postcard.
This is a debate that has gone on for years. Even when you Google what he is, it just says British Canadian.
Outrageous.
It's crazy. It says British Canadian. It's a debate all over the world. But yes, honestly, Ron, he's born there. You know.
So are you accepting that he's British? Is that what you're saying?
Of course he's British, man. Of course he's British. Of course he's British. He's born there. He's got citizenship. He's born there. Come on. He is British. But he's also Canadian.
No.
Yes. That gold medal, you can't deny the gold medal. The gold medal says Canada. It doesn't say England, it says Canada.
And also, what he forgets to tell you is on the show last night, which is in Canada, Ian, I jumped on Mike's show. He's got his own show in Canada. It's all very glamorous, not like this amateur setup we've got. But moving on quickly.
We do use the same streaming platform, though.
You do. I noticed that. He also said that us Brits often claim people as our own. And it wasn't Mike who thrown this name out, but one of his colleagues mentioned a Nigerian boxer.
Oh my!
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that right, Mike?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mike, can I just ask something, mate?
Yes,
We
definitely.
can get on your show, pal.
Oh yeah, you can come on anytime, brother.
I can't wait for that Friday when we're on.
Yeah, Friday night panel. Don't worry, we'll get it going this
It'll be
Friday.
gold. It will be
Friday night
gold.
panel.
I was there last night. I was slipping the shots last night. I was slipping him and bleeding.
Hey, you should have brought your headgear, man.
I know. My gum shield was in, Mike, by the end of it. I punched up when I got into bed.
Don't worry, I got the gloves right here, guys.
No, there's something in that though. I remember Zola Bud. I don't know if any of you do.
Yeah, I remember Zola Bud.
Yeah, so we kind of did grab her, didn't we? And just adopt her out of nowhere.
The part of the problem with the Olympics is they're too open with allowing people to move countries.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I get it for Lewis. I get it that he moved over to Canada. He grew up there. It was a natural progression for him to fight for Canada because that's where the majority of his building process came from. But as soon as he turned professional, what did he do?
Yeah, he made the jump back.
Yeah,
he come back to England.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? Honestly, I'll tell you why. Where else is he getting fights? Canada doesn't have really a huge talent pool, man.
Really? I'm
Yeah,
not
like,
noticed that.
Well,
Like,
Mike, he could have very easily just jumped the border.
gone south.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he could have gone to America.
In America, wouldn't he?
maybe he wanted to. Well, yeah, you got me there. What can I say to that, right? He could have jumped the border. He could have jumped the border, no problem. You know what? It probably just made more sense for him to.
And the Americans didn't particularly like him, Mike, did they?
No, not really.
Only
Not
because he
really.
was Canadian, or they thought he was Canadian.
Honestly, I liked him. I liked watching him fight. I thought he was entertaining, man. You know, great champion.
Question for you then, Mike.
Yeah.
Where does Lennox Lewis sit
Oh,
for you in your top ranking heavyweights of all time?
I mean, you can do top British if you want. Bearing in mind he's British. It's up to you.
He's in my top 10.
Definitely.
Of all time across the world?
Yeah, he's in my top 10. I put him in my top 10. I don't know exactly where my top 10 because I haven't really thought about it, but
Okay.
yeah, he'd be in my top 10 for sure.
You've just won my love back, Mike.
Yes.
I was getting worried a bit there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Good job. Yeah.
What about you, Ian? Where would you put Lewis?
Oh, definitely in the top 10. In terms of British heavyweights, I'd say probably number 1 actually.
Yeah.
Way above anybody else in Britain for me. Way above anybody else.
Yeah.
He has accomplished more than any heavyweight British boxer, correct?
Yeah, of course he has. Yeah.
Well,
He's the last undisputed champion, wasn't he?
Yeah. And how many years ago was that now? That was
20 man, you know.
I don't know. Can someone quickly Google that? Was it late 90s?
I believe it was the late 90s.
Yeah. Like 99 or something like that, wasn't it? 97.
Yeah, something like that.
So, Ian, who's your favourite boxer of all time, young man?
Gosh, I don't know. Right now it's Tyson, I think.
Yeah.
You know,
Sweet science.
everything he says, he does. You know that you've got to admire that. You know,
Backs it up, don't he?
Yeah. He told everyone he was going to walk through Wilder, didn't he? He told everyone he was going to walk through.
We all went, oh, you can't knock him out. You know?
And all of a sudden, Ian, Wilder's a bum. Before the fight, it was the most dangerous heavyweight with that right hand that's lived.
Oh, man. I have such fun with the Wilder fans because I call him Beyonce, and they hate it, you know. And there's a what is it? I think it's a Sky Sports YouTube channel. The fight there, the Tyson Wilder 2. I just can't not keep going back, you know, watching the fight, the whole thing, all the way through, you know. And I put a comment there saying, it's like crack to me. I just can't stop. So I just got one hateful comment. Somebody said, it's Deontay, not Beyonce. And so I just went, if I was a boy, you know.
Lennox Lewis retired in 2003.
Right.
Okay.
But he only had, 2 losses, didn't he? And
he
revenged both of them. So no man actually beat him, as it were. You know what I mean?
You know why that was, Ian? It's that British steel in him, you see. It's that British steel.
Yes.
He was a 3-time world heavyweight champion and two-time lineal champion, and remains the last undisputed heavyweight. That is why the Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury triple match did not happen, because it's a year of unification and undisputeds, and Eddie Hearn keeps saying that champions need to fight champions. Unification. And you know what? Lennox Lewis 2003 is the last time. That's, you know, almost 20 years ago that we had an undisputed heavyweight. It's time.
Yeah.
You know, just saying that, Mike, sounds crazy.
Yeah. It's ludicrous to even think that.
Unfortunately, that's the politics in boxing now.
I was about to say, it doesn't really, when you take into consideration how many big fights have as a sport we've let slip. It doesn't really sound, when you put it in that context, it doesn't sound.
So that would mean because the 4-belt system didn't happen until when, 2004?
Yep.
Right. So we've never had a 4-belt undisputed heavyweight champion ever.
No. So the WBO was not around at the time, was it?
Right.
Definitely not from Canada. But moving on.
Yeah.
So, well, to be fair, Lewis didn't recognize it, did he? It was there, but Lewis didn't recognize it. He didn't recognize it. It wasn't seen as, it was probably seen as the same as we see the WBU now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you know what? This Fury, like I said, that's a fight for the decade, man. A fight for 2 decades, really. And it's gonna go down in history, man. The first time.
I just can't wait.
4-belt era.
I just can't wait for it to be officially announced. So stop these games, for God, stop these games. Let's get the official poster out there.
Eddie was pushed on it again tonight once, and he still won't give anything.
No.
He can't say. Yeah, he can't.
There's legal binding contracts that are stopping everything from coming out, because you know what? Let's be real. This is probably the biggest thing in boxing in whoever knows how long, man. Years.
Well, Mike, if it's in Vegas, are you okay to put me, Andy, and Ray up? If we,
I'll meet you guys. I'll meet you guys there. I'll bring the deed to the house and gamble it away and everything.
We need your guy to get her head down and get to sleep.
Yeah, no problem.
What's the flight time from where you are to Vegas? What we looking at?
From me to Vegas, only a few hours, man.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, man, I can be down there in quick time.
It's in Saudi, man. It'll be in Saudi.
Yeah, it's in Saudi. It's in Saudi.
Where the money is.
I'm just hoping that the second fight's going to be at Wembley. That would be fantastic.
It'd be great, wouldn't it?
Oh man, can you imagine?
It doesn't matter where it is in England, as long as it's in England in the second fight.
How can it not be 2 British fighters? How can that second fight not be in Britain?
It has to be.
The problem is though, it won't be historic because it won't be for all the belts.
No,
that doesn't matter. By
that point, they will have been stripped.
Yeah,
at least one belt will have gone.
They might put it at St James's Park. It's about time we've had some elite sportsmen up there, isn't it?
I'll just ignore that comment. I'll just ignore that. But for me, as long as the 2 fights happen. Doesn't matter whether it's belts or not.
What's the time frame for the second fight on that contract? Does anybody know?
November,
December. So,
okay,
so we're looking at a few months.
The second fight.
Yeah, the second fight.
I mean, I don't care if they did it in the Matchroom back garden. Just so long as it's in England, it'd be great.
Hell, they can do it in my backyard. I don't even care.
As far as I'm concerned,
I'll even give them a spare room to sleep in before the fight.
As far as I'm concerned, as long as the first fight's for all the marbles, it don't matter.
No, exactly.
No.
Well, it is for all the marbles. It's for the first undisputed since 2003 and the first undisputed in a 4-belt era.
Yeah,
that's huge.
It is. It's crazy. It's crazy.
And that's why there's so many T's and I's that need to be crossed and dotted on these contracts. Yeah. That's why everybody's so hush-hush, because it is like this. Once this deal is signed, it's the only thing people are going to talk about in boxing until that fight happens.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. You're not going to hear no Teofimo Lopez's, no Ryan Garcia's. You're not going to hear about Canelo. You're not going to hear about anybody else. You know why? Because nobody else is going to give a shit about anything else but
just on that, Mike. Is this fight going to matter to Americans?
Definitely. Really? Why not?
Well, because there's not an American fighter involved, and normally they don't care.
You're in a mischievous mood, you are, Andrew, aren't you?
I'm not. We've said before, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but the American sporting world is its own little world, and quite often they don't pay attention to what goes off outside of that American world.
But
when it
still,
comes down to
Andy, I'd argue the heavyweight champion of the world still ranks quite high there within the sporting world of North America. Would you agree, Mike? Surely.
Definitely.
Yeah,
No, I get that, and they love Tyson, don't they? Through
exactly.
through what he's done in the two fights with Wilder.
Yeah.
But if you speak to an average Joe in America, they won't know who AJ is.
No. Why would they know AJ? Really?
Yeah.
He was the guy that
People do know of AJ. People do know he's got a big following in the Americas, man. Like, you know what? It's boxing. Boxing has a huge fan base across the world. It doesn't matter if you don't have somebody from your country as a champion. You have your favorite fighters. You know, Tyson Fury definitely. He's got favorite, fans from all over the world, man. All parts of the globe.
Yeah.
It's just, anybody wants to see a good fight, and as long as it's going to happen, everybody's going to watch it. It's going to be talked about, and then you know what, like. Even though there's not a United States citizen or a Canadian citizen fighting for that title, it's going to make them work harder to strive and fight for that title that now is not here.
Where do you think the pay point will be on the pay-per-view over in North America, Mike? Where do you think that's
it's going to be upwards of $100 easy.
Wow.
Yeah, like some of these big fights that we can order here sometimes are, 60, 70, $80. This is the super fight. Fight of the decade. This is going to be, $99.99, probably $119.99 for the high def version or whatever. If we had bars, they'd be probably paying $1,000 to show it in the bar, instead of the regular $500 they pay. It's a moneymaker, man, and they're going to charge that much because what's the payday? Like 100 million pounds?
100 million? Yeah. It's a crazy amount.
It's something ridiculous. It's something. It's something retarded.
I think our pay-per-view price is probably going to double, isn't it?
Probably.
I reckon
Probably.
We normally sit at around. Sorry, we normally sit at around £20-25.
Right. So yeah, that's
we're
about the average of what we are.
40-50, aren't they?
Yeah. But yeah, these super fights they cost money, and you know what? Like in any sports, you have baseball teams they over budget to get their players. They got to up the concession stand prices just to pay for it. Same thing, right? We got to pay these guys to get in the ring. It's going to cost $100 million purse each. And then, how are we going to get that? Well, we're going to use the viewership that are buying these things, and we're going to up it. Hey, if we can't have an audience by then, well, then definitely they're going to up it even more because they got to make that revenue that they're missing from those, the $20,000 4-row seats that are going to go around that ring. But probably on that night are going to be anywhere from 50 to 100,000. Right, so
do you understand about the site fees? Because they kept saying, it's going to have to be a really big site fee. Well,
site fee is $1.2 million for all 4 belts. It's 3% or 300,000 of the purse, or like upwards of 300,000. So that's each sanctioning body. So that's all 4 belts. That's 300,000 a piece. It's 1.2 million per person to fight for that belt that night.
I don't understand that really.
It's a bit late at night for us over on this side, Mike, to be doing the maths on that one. We'll try that one. One more question for me, Mike. So, how has it been allowed to happen for Eddie Hearn to waltz into North America, set up Matchroom USA, and how's it been allowed? How's it been allowed that he's become the most charismatic promoter in North America?
Because he's taken everything he's learned by all the veterans of the game, and he's using it to become the kingpin.
And who's
listen? If he doesn't sign back with Skyrim or doesn't sign with the Zone, you're going to see Matchroom by Matchroom Broadcasting by Matchroom Fighters. Bang. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be the Eddie Hearn show. Here, come watch the Eddie Hearn boxing.
Eddie wants to he talked about it just the other day, didn't he? That he wants to have his own facilities, a whole sort of camp of under one roof. The whole
and definitely
studios and the lot,
He's on his way to do it. He's got the experience and he's had the tutelage under the veterans of the game.
Indeed.
And he's offering good money. and he's giving incentives to these fighters to come to him.
Yeah.
And
I get
money.
really,
Money talks.
when,
Money talks in this game, right? Like we said, we're
absolutely.
always talking about boxers. Remember, they're prize fighters. What do? They fight for money. That's the game.
Yeah.
Money
Absolutely,
talks,
Mike.
bullshit walks.
Yeah.
When you
Right.
talk about tutelage, Omar, it's his old man where he's learned that all from, and into Barry.
Yep.
But I know we mentioned it last night on the show, but he is innovative, isn't he?
Definitely.
He's grabbed social media by the balls. Let's have it right. He milks social media, don't he? He uses IFLs as well to showcase his fighters. Put a mic in front of him, and he's
off
sales mode.
Yeah. I mean,
He's a natural born salesman.
Look at Fight Camp in the summer. I mean,
Brilliant.
Wonderful idea. Brilliant idea. Completely
It's
off
the
the
exact
wall.
same
Nobody
thing that
else
Dana
would have
White
thought
did
of
with
that, would they?
Ultimate Fighter,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Eddie Hearn is just bringing a sport that is archaic, we'll say, and moving it in to the next generation.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether you guys, Mark, I don't know whether you're catching the BT cards over your side of the pond.
So sometimes I catch the BT cards.
So when you draw I know me and Andy's often spoken. When you draw a comparison between a BT production and a matchroom production, it's night and day.
Sky, yeah.
Exactly the same.
Listen, I think the same.
It's really night and day, man. Like we said, Matchroom, Eddie Hearn. I said it before. I'll say it again. The man knows how to put on a show.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, visual effects, stage setup, backgrounds, the announcers, down to the cameras they use, down to the microphones that their announcers are mic'd with, to the way they do the build up to each fight, the cut scenes that they use for each fighter building up to the fight. Everything is done like militant. It is a process, and it works, and he's perfected it.
Yeah.
And it speaks for itself. Like I watch some productions by other companies that are just
just coming on to circuses and such like. We've had a few comments in the sidebar about the Askren Paul fight tonight. I'll be honest with you, I won't be staying up to watch this fight. I don't know whether you guys are.
In my opinion, mate, it's an absolute joke. Complete waste of time.
Absolutely. I'll be waiting and see. I'll see what the outcome is in the morning.
Yeah.
Not staying up to it.
No,
I certainly wouldn't.
I have no interest at all.
it's not what I would call boxing.
No.
Honestly, no. It's becoming more of a sideshow because now you think about his brother Logan Paul. Sure, he's fighting Floyd Mayweather, but he's sticking to fighters, to boxers, right? Now you got Jake Paul, who's the younger brother, who's hey, I'm going to fight Nate Robinson. Okay, now I'm going to fight Ben Askren, and now you're saying that after you fight Ben Askren, you want to call out Nate Diaz? The hell's wrong with you?
Yeah.
It's an absolute.
It's getting stupid. Like if you want to join the ranks of professional boxing, join the ranks of professional boxing. You call yourself a pro.
Mike, you know the thing is, Mike, one day one of these YouTubers is going to get really hurt.
Correct.
And all that does is that puts a really bad light on our sport.
And that's exactly what I said on the show last night, Mike, wasn't it? As much as
Yes, it was.
there's
But
another guy.
if you notice, a lot of these new YouTube fighting are done on Trilla. It looks like Trilla is the new platform for these YouTube pro boxing matches to happen.
It makes right. So there's that famous saying in there: if it makes money, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So to these networks, it makes sense.
They're making money.
Floyd Mayweather, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it makes money. But let's have it right. That's not going down on Floyd Mayweather's boxing record. Because it's not a fight. It's a showpiece. It's a exhibition. Let's call it an exhibition.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's nothing more than that. It's nothing more than Mike Tyson against Roy Jones.
My concern is
So that's what I don't understand. So how is Jake Paul's professional record 2 wins and 0 losses? Like,
well, I'll tell you what. Let's see him step in with Fury.
Yeah, my concern.
Not Tyson.
Tommy Fury, you mean?
Let's see.
Yeah,
Tommy Fury. Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see him step in with
that fight.
How about this? Let's see him step in with Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah, anybody.
Yeah,
I'll tell you right now.
Mike.
Williams would overwhelm and beat the living crap out of Jake Paul.
Yeah.
It's dangerous for me. It's dangerous for me, and
It is dangerous. It is dangerous, but it is introducing a younger generation to the art of boxing.
I'm not
Whether it's
necessarily
being a sideshow or not.
No.
You have to agree it's turning the youth onto a sport.
Just to jump in there, Mike. I said similar last night. My concerns is yes, they might log on tonight or they might stream it tonight to watch this poor kid fight. But how much retention is there? You know, okay, does it transpire into the normal boxing fights? I don't think so. And another thing I've got issues with, Mike, is I said what Andy said last night. As much as it's bringing this new crowd into boxing, supposedly, I'm still to see it. I'll be honest with you. When one of these kids get hurt badly, that's going to look really shoddy on the world of boxing because they've allowed it to happen. And it's only a matter of time before one of these kids gets hurt badly because they're calling out some big names, and it's a mismatch. They wouldn't let the British Boxing Board of Control won't let anyone walk off the street who taps a computer all day and jump in a ring.
No. And he doesn't, like, this is what I mean. He doesn't even have an amateur fighting background. You know what I mean? He was a high school wrestler. That's about the extent of his fighting background. You know, sure, you got $15 million. You've hired the best, but you know what I mean? You've only been boxing a couple of years. Like, how do you consider yourself a pro?
Is it just me though? Is it just me, Mike, or does Askren actually look out of shape?
He does look out of shape, actually. The way he had a beer gut. And you know what that goes to show me? That he's really not scared.
Yeah,
it just goes to show me he's going to go in there and he's going to, like Askren is no joke. He went 20-0 before he lost 2 and then dropped out.
These poor brothers.
But he's got the ability to win, and he's got power in his hands. I don't know as a boxer, but he can hit hard. And in any sport, really, all it takes is one really good shot.
Can I just look at this from a slightly different angle?
Yeah, for sure.
So the Floyd Mayweather-McGregor fight, to me, absolutely fantastic viewing from McGregor. Anything that comes out of McGregor's mouth is really funny, and it was great to watch just for that in the build-up. As far as the fight goes, that decision for me, and this is really controversial. This is my opinion as well. It's not Last Bell Boxing's opinion, by the way.
I'm glad you said that.
That fight was fixed.
That was a money
that fight. Floyd Mayweather didn't break sweat.
No.
And
wasn't it a money Mayweather production?
Yeah.
Right. Did Floyd make something like $800 million?
Ridiculous money. Ridiculous. Yeah. But he did it because he knew the viewings he was going to get. Yeah. And this is what snowballed and started this whole situation off with these YouTubers.
Yeah. But you know what? I give it to McGregor. He went and got licensed.
Right. Yeah. McGregor's a fighter. Fair enough. From a completely different angle, he's a fighter. So he had a little bit of credibility coming into it.
And the fitness is there.
At the time.
And that credibility is you're not going to die when you get beat up.
That's exactly my point. He knows how to defend himself. Yeah. He knows how to take a shot.
Mm-hmm. He knows when to throw the towel in if you can't do it anymore.
Right. So these guys that are going in wide-eyed, thinking they can take on the world because they've got 1 million YouTube viewers, it's going to end in tragedy one day. I know Carl, and we keep on going on about it, but the boxing world don't seem to care. That's the frustrating thing. And Eddie earns as much to blame for this as anybody else because he's put these shows on. I mean, didn't Billy Joe Saunders, wasn't he on the undercard to one of these?
In a world title fight.
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah, it was the first one. Yeah,
absolutely disgraceful, that is. I mean, how could that have been allowed to happen?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how it goes on. it's honestly, it is a bit of a circus. I don't know how these are going down as professional knocks on a belt. Like how is this going to go down as a professional boxing match when you're fighting some guy who's an MMA fighter who is not a professional boxer? You fought Nate Robinson. Did Nate Robinson spend 2 years, go and get licensed as a professional fighter? No, he just trained for 2 years. How is that a pro win?
Yeah.
And then what? You fight what's the guy's name?
I really dislike the kid as well.
He's a bit of a jackass, you know.
Bit.
Yeah. I mean, he keeps calling out these silly names, mocking people's wives. You know.
Yeah.
That stuff's not cool. Like I didn't like it. I think it's totally unacceptable, and I think somebody needs to really slap the shit out of him, because telling somebody, kids, hey, I'm going to send your father home to you all bloodied and battered. Yeah. Are you kidding me, bud? Yeah. It don't matter after the fight. I'll meet you in the parking lot. You won't be going home. Don't be saying shit like that. That's crazy. That's crazy talk. I honestly wanted to see him and McGregor, because I wanted to see McGregor break his nose. Punch him out. I wanted that fight to happen, but unfortunately it couldn't. So you know what? Hopefully Ben Askren does it tonight.
Is there a very controversial again? Is there a chance that this could end up being the same thing as what I've just said about the McGregor Mayweather fight?
Could be. It's thrown by Trilla. It's produced by Trilla. Yeah. I'm pretty sure Jake Paul has his own promotion company involved in this, because on his last fight against Nate, I think the purse was only like $600,000, but he made 10 million or something like that off of streaming rights. So
mad into it.
I
mean, they have so much power now. These, especially someone that's high up in the YouTube world, they've got so much power that it makes you wonder. He kind of holds all the cards there.
Yeah.
And what kind of, for me, the question needs to be, what kind of says he got? And who do you say is broadcasting? Triller.
Yeah. Triller Promotions.
Mike, who sanctioned it, Mike? Who sanctioned this fight site? Is it Nevada?
You know what? I don't even know if it's. I don't know who sanctioned it.
I'll be very surprised if they have.
I don't believe it would be. I don't believe it would be Nevada who sanctioned this.
Someone has, hasn't there?
If somebody's had to, somebody's had to.
Yeah.
It'll be some real obscure board, won't it? It's not going to be.
I wouldn't know. Regis Progress on the undercard, isn't
he? Yeah.
Is he really?
Yeah. And Triller were doing the Lopez fight as well.
Yeah, Lopez Cambosos Jr. So they're getting into it. But I think at the end of the day, boys, let's be frank about it. We're boxing fans, big boxing fans, but we've given these guys 15 minutes. And notably, I didn't say anything because I'm not giving these guys any more airtime because they're not boxers for me.
No, but the danger is
you're right.
Andy, they've achieved their aim. We're talking about them.
No, I know, but the danger is we're giving them 15 minutes. How long before they get half an hour? How long before they get half of a show? How long before they get a full show?
The fight's taking place in Atlanta. So
I mean, for me, I don't agree. I don't agree with this. It's bringing new fans into the sport. I don't think it's good for the sport at all. I just don't see what benefit it brings. People say money makes sense. You could use that money, pay the fighters. Amateur boxing in this country is suffering because of the pandemic, and it's just insulting. For me, that's my strong opinions on it.
We did an interview. You might have seen it, guys. It's out on YouTube. We did an interview with Carl Greaves, boxing trainer from not far from where we live. He's been in some massive fights, and he's given his opinion, hasn't he, on that video, Carl?
Yeah.
He hates it because it's taken, as far as he's concerned, it's taken food out of his fighters' mouths. They weren't the words he come out with. That's what I'm saying. But in a roundabout way, it's not right for the sport. I think he said it makes a mockery of it, didn't he, Cole?
I can't remember his actual quote, Andy, if I'm honest.
Something like that. But basically, what he's saying is it's not right for the sport, and because he's not just obviously he's not just a trainer; he's a small promoter. So, like what Ray's just said, these fighters that don't get on these big shows, don't get on BT Sports, and don't get on Sky, they're not getting any boxing at the minute because there's no crowds for the smaller shows. No. They could be getting on these undercards, but then you're getting the likes of these YouTube fights taking preference for things like that. I think these smaller promoters and the smaller trainers, they can see the danger of where it could go and what it could mean to boxers that are only just turning professional and struggling to get fights.
Yeah.
You know, it's a bit more than it being a joke, and it's a bit more than it being disrespectful to the sport. It's damaging for the sport, really. Anyway, just my opinion.
I hear you. Man. Yeah, everybody's entitled to their opinions.
Yeah, we've all got one.
Yeah, definitely, guys. I know it's late over there. Yeah, I'm gonna get going because the PBC fight night is starting now at 8. Tony Harrison and Brian Perella is on that card, and there's some guys that I know that are up and coming, undefeated, that are young on that card that I've been watching through their careers. So I got to get on that and watch it early.
No worries.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for coming on.
Definitely, yeah, guys. Thanks for having me on again. We'll be in touch. We'll get you on the show over here on our side. Definitely, guys. Have a great night, man.
Take care, man. See you.
Take it easy.
Bye. Right then, so I think we'll call that a wrap, guys, because it's getting onto the wee small hours over here, isn't it? So,
yeah.
Ian, thank you very much for your input.
Nice
Welcome.
to meet you all.
Nice. Feel free to jump on again. We do this regular on a Thursday night at 9 o'clock, but we also do these shows after fights, so you're more than welcome.
Yeah. Thanks for picking up the Northeast contingent, Ian.
Absolutely. I figured you'd need the support,
Yeah.
I tell you what, we're getting that number there. We need to get another Nottingham lad on.
Yeah. No.
No, Ian, really appreciate it, fella. Okay, have a good evening. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks for coming on, Ian.
Okay, Andy, do you want to bring it to a close? You opened it, so feel free to close the show out, fella, and then we'll finish the stream.
Well, obviously, I'd like to thank Mike for joining us from Canada. Always great to have him on the show. Lovely to see Ian, first time on the show. Brilliant that we're getting new people coming in and commenting in the comments bar as well. Thanks a lot, guys. Keep viewing, keep watching, keep coming on live, giving your opinions. It's all welcome. Everyone's opinion counts on this show. And on that note, I think we'll call it a night, and we'll see you guys. I'll see you guys on Thursday.
Thursday, 9 p.m. You know where we are. Cheers, guys.